there's a whole generation of kids that they never got to see you play.
True.
I mean, they can look at the highlights and they know you and they know the ad campaign, but they didn't get to grow up watching you play.
Yes.
And can you just indulge us for a moment with a couple of our favorite Bo moments? Because they never get old.
Yes.
And at the iconic Monday night football game.
Iconic Monday night. That was my 26th. That was my 25th or 26th birthday.
Mm-hmm. That was your birthday.
That was my birthday. Not only that, 3 days prior to that, I told my wife, I informed my wife that she was pregnant with our second child. She didn't know.
Oh, you saw the signs. Okay.
The Bo Knows campaigns?
Yes.
That's true.
That's Bo knew.
Yes.
That's crazy. Wow.
That's true. And
the build up to that game too was you versus Brian Bosworth. He said it was like Darth Vader versus Luke Skywalker.
Well, the thing with that, everybody knows Brian Bosworth, and Brian got to be one of the most brightest marketing athletes. He marketed himself very, very well, and he will tell you that we are friends till this day. But he did all of the talking, and I learned back in college and high school is that I do my talking on the field. That's one thing that my coaches told me, because if you talk too much and you can't live up to it, then...
You did your talking on the field in that game. You ran right over him at the goal line. And
that was a fun night.
That was a fun night.
I got to ride back on the bus sitting beside Al Davis.
Oh, really?
So he invited me on his bus.
Oh, so whoever was the star of the game got to sit next to Al on the bus.
Yes, and my teammates, Howie Long and Marcus and them, they started to say, Bo, I see you set up with your dad right after the game. So they still joke with me till this day about that, because Al summoned me up to his bus.
Yeah, you were allowed. You were allowed up there. What about the 91-yard touchdown run?
90-yard,
that was incredible.
The 92. Actually, we had ran that same play a couple of series prior to that, and I went to the sideline, and Terry Robisky, who was our offensive coordinator, he said, Bo, he said, we are going to run that play again, but this time don't cut it back, because you had room outside. You had room. He said, do not cut it back no matter what, because I got a habit of, if I see where something's clogged up, I cut back against the grain. And I did what he told me, and it was there. Once I got past Boz, Terry Easley and those guys, I knew that they weren't going to catch me.
Worked to perfection.
It worked to perfection, all because Terry Robisky told me to keep it outside.
And because you were a good listener,
yes,
also.
I follow directions very well.
Baseball, the All-Star Game, 1989.
Yes.
Leadoff home run. You were an MVP in that game. Led off the bottom of the first with the home run. What do you remember about that?
The thing I remember was coming to the locker room and looking at the lineup, and I'm looking to see if my name is going to be 4th or 5th or 6th, and he got me at leadoff. And I'm like, I've never led off in my life. And then I looked at the people that were batting behind me. Wade Boggs, Kirby Puckett, you got the Canseco's, you got the Mark McGuire's, you got Joe Carter, you got all these guys. So we were stacked to the gills. It was almost like having a whole basketball team of Steph Curry's.
That's a good analogy.
Yes. And we were stacked to the gills. So I said, all right, I'll get on. And I know that these guys are going to move me over and get me in. And just so happened, I caught up to one of Rick Russell's knuckleballs. And it just so happened to leave the park.
Just so happened.
Just so happened to leave the park.
Just like you just so happened to climb the wall against the Orioles. That is a highlight that is, I mean, it's a seminal moment in your history, and you can't see it enough. What happened there?
Well, we were playing that batter with the shift, and I was in center field that game, and I don't know if that was Brian Orsolak or whoever, but he hit it in the gap, and I had to run to get it, and actually when I caught it, and I got my head down, and I look up, and the wall is there. And running at that angle, if I'd hit the wall, I would have spun off the wall and probably hurt my shoulder. So instead of spinning off the wall. I said, well, I'll just run up the wall and come down, because I used to do that in high school.
Oh, so you had done that before?
I'd done that before, yes, in high school, where we get up on the building. So we run up the side of the wall and get on top of the building.
What did the Bo Knows campaign do for you in terms of tying it all together and being such an iconic ad campaign?
It was, you're right, it was, and it still is till this day. That phrase is known all over the country and in other countries, and people know the Bo Knows campaign, and it was a success. I think it came along at the right time. Nike and Bo Jackson merged at the right time to create something special, and 25, 30 years later, it still rings around the country. Everybody still knows
this image still hangs in many a room of many an aspiring multi-sport athlete.
Wow, what a handsome kid.
I knew you were going to say that. Do you think it could be done today?
I think it could, but you have to look at the fact that sports now is so deep with just raw talent. I think someone that's trying to do both will probably end up riding the bench in both, because the talent pool, it's just too deep. I think if someone tried to concentrate on doing both, they would end up being a backup player.
Given that, what do you think your sports legacy is?
My sports legacy, I really don't think that's for me to decide. I think that's for my peers. I just want to be known as someone that gave it 100%, and I played the game the way it's supposed to be played.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.